According to Gardner, 9 out of every 10 IT people slated for a big data project have never used Hadoop. Who here thought that part of educating prospects on big data as it applies to talent also means you have to educate the prospect on big data? Yes? No? There's a reality there that we are going to have to do quite a bit of education. So how do you take somebody that is very used to relational databases and teach them about where big databases like Hadoop are going to help them and where not to use them, because they are not the solution to every single use case. So I'll propose to you using the Madrid phone book. And I want that to be a lot more significant and a lot wider because, but unfortunately, everybody has gone electronic and doesn't have a Madrid phone book around here. So when we use the example of a large amount of data, such as a phone book, and I'm just going to say this side of the room is going to be traditional relational databases. You're all nodes. And this side, we're going to say you guys are big data nodes. So why is Hadoop so efficient at going through the large data? Well, simply, we're going to rip this phone book, and I'm going to give each of you a subsection of the phone book. Usman's going to be A through D, and Dwight, E through whatever, and on down the line. Now, the whole concept behind MapReduce, which makes all this work, is based on the fact that whatever the query is, you all get a piece of it. So if we're looking for Michael Jordan, do you have that in your part of the phone book?
Nope.
No, that was easy. Took 0 seconds. Dwight, 0 seconds. Eventually, we'll get to add, and that will get, got it. That is put out, and that is part of the reduce. So Ed, even though this is a very large amount of data, got to do the entire processing without doing a lot to do it. Now, all you nodes of the traditional relational database, I'm going to put it here, and you guys are all going to fight over that one piece. Now, you got some indexes. That makes it easy. But there gets to be a point where all of you trying to access, and as it grows, it becomes quite a bit of contention. So that's great. Large data, quick searches, the big data people have it. Updates. Well, Hive provides a layer on top of Hadoop that allows you to do updates, right? Does anybody know the cost of an update in Hive? Hadoop has a concept of immutable data, which means you cannot change any of the data. So you guys need to update your database. You find it, you write it, boom, you're done. You guys do it. You find it, you read everything in, you make a new file, decide that, okay, now it's a little bigger, and you write the entire thing out to all you know together. So when it comes to updating, the relational database is always going to win. And when it comes to large data sets that don't change, you guys are going to win. And that is what we can relate to our customers about big data and help them make the right decisions on what part of data integration to use for what part. And when we do this, and we allow to show them that we're trying to help them in their endeavor and learn how to use their big data and their relationals, they will see this as a trusted partnership between them and us and help us win the game. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
So are you asking me to choose between big data and relational databases, or is there like a hybrid approach where I can use both of them together?
Absolutely. And I don't see, unless a very special use case where a company will ever go one as opposed to the other. And because my analogy for that is, in my garage I have an SUV and a car. And sometimes I want to get good gas mileage, I'll take the car. And sometimes I got a pile of 6 kids in, I want to take the SUV. And that's the way it's going to be with data forever. Depending on use case, you're going to use one or the other.
Thank you.
May I use the power of MapReduce for the storage of that piece?
The silver bullet.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was, may I use the power of MapReduce? Because for searching or for doing, it's quite sensitive to use that for processing, but still use the database layer for storage.
Thank you, Freadhoff, and I know this is a gotcha question because you're wondering if I'll use this opportunity to sell Talon. Absolutely, you can. MapReduce and Spark are processing engines, and using Talon, we can offload processing that can traditionally be done by stored procedures in the database, and use Talon to do that on these very distributed architectures for great speed purposes. Any other questions?
Well, I just want to remind you of the last step in the process of answering the question.
Let's hear which does that work for you? Sure. All right.
Did you like my answer?
I like it.
So,
Last question.
All right.
do you mean that Hadoop is not good for taking updates on the data, or?
It's not good
I
for
mean, if I want to have a transactional system, Hadoop is not the choice, that's what you mean, or?
Well, it depends on what the transactional system is. If you're having a lot of updates and inserts, let's say cash register receipts from the day, Hadoop is great because you're appending all the time. Where the transactional system is going to fall apart is if you have to look into that information and change it. So airline tickets that are currently open are a terrible place to use Hadoop. However, once the person flies, then you can put them on Hadoop because then they're set. So you can kind of use a hybrid approach or
NoSQL?
NoSQL. I mean, there's a lot of options for you. But much like any big decision, there's a lot of variables that factor into this. Last step.
I think we talked about this.
Is that it?
Thanks to everybody for coming.
No.
No.
Confirm the question.
Oh. Did that work for you?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, Dylan, what'd you think?
I thought it went fairly well. I didn't use a lot of fillers, which I was happy about.
Okay.
I like the subject matter. I like being able to open it with a provocative statement, follow it up with a question, kind of get the room's feelings. And then, of course, my phone book as my prop to lead me into my body of the message.
You like that too? That was part of what you liked? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And because it is a difficult concept when you're talking about Hadoop and distributed nodes, so I think it helps visualize and personalize how it's done for individuals in the room.
You've combined two of the techniques we talked about yesterday. It's a metaphor prop.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Seemed like Robert, you had something?
I liked your delivery, it worked, your confidence, the flow, the analogous book, et cetera. You got audience participation. Otherwise, and I think you need to work on paraphrasing with empathy as soon as you hear the question.
I think he's trying to hammer that home.
Don't be like us, and we want and we're compelled to answer the question immediately and succinctly, but I think we're being coached otherwise.
Yeah, and
The
to,
repeat and clarification, like Rodolph, it's the only thing that I noticed that would have been.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking about that. I don't know maybe this has occurred to me before, but it just seemed to really click in my mind, given the things we've been talking about making sure this is a question that needs to be answered. If you're taking the time to do the paraphrasing or the clarify step, it gives you just that extra few moments to to make that calculation. Is this a question I need to answer right now? I mean, in our own minds, doing that extra step will give you that extra few moments to make that assessment. So it strikes me as even more important now than ever before, maybe. Any other feedback for
Yeah, I got a
Dylan?
few.
Please, Vinny.
Like for me, like the presentation itself was A plus. Like honestly, like the involvement, the provocative, smashing the book on the table. So if anyone was falling asleep, they immediately woke up. Naming the people, involving them was great. It's all about, for what I wrote, like the main thing was like telling a simple story to explain a complex concept. Just that drove the car home for me. Like that, I was like, where do I sign? That's good. And also, one great thing that you did is your use of hands. Your body expression was great. You were like pointing at things. You were like using your hands a lot to express yourself, and that was I thought that was really good. Now, once you reach the question part, yeah, I mean what Robert mentioned, the first part of the answering the questions just wasn't there. The repeat paraphrasing for empathy, the group eye contact, like when Shaikat asked the question, you were only looking at him. It's like you wanted to make love to him, and we were in the room next door. You know, we were in the room next door.
Which is completely understandable.
Just being uncomfortable, you know. Like,
He was at a 10, huh?
yeah, right, yeah. Yes, that and yeah, forgetting the confirm part. You did say at one point, thank you, Christoph, after you asked your question. But yeah, essentially.
Yeah. So my advice for you guys is, we had a day to prepare the speech, and we only talked about questions this morning.
Yes.
So it gets overshadowed in your mind up here, so make sure to. Don't make excuses.
Explaining.
This,
It was advice. I prefaced that with it.
this is a lot.
No, but I agree.
Information to learn.
It is.
It
We
is.
went through it in September to
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, these guys had
It is.
a big head start, so.
Yeah.
You guys still did a great job. I think one reason about the questioning, the clarification, and the confirm of the question, maybe one reason why you didn't spend that much time on that one, it's maybe because you took this session as to teach us something. And most people, and maybe it's different in the US and in the university, but most people, when you turn yourself as a teacher or learning person, you don't really ask for clarification when you get questions because you just want to provide knowledge and so on. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
If it was a different topic, maybe you would have done a little bit more that, like if it was like a visa or big data, and you got like an architect say, oh, well, maybe you would have clarified and then try to do the few things that you miss. So that's probably just the way you make yourself as a teacher. So maybe Terry, you can comment on that. So when you are teaching something, everything that we learn does apply, or you would maybe think about it?
I think so. I mean, there are so many layers to these techniques that, for example, the paraphrasing with empathy just continues to build trust and connection whenever you do it.
Yeah.
So, especially if there's any complexity at all to the question, that is really important to do.
Because to be honest with you, at school, I've never seen any teacher of mine
That's
correcting me, repeating, or trying to clarify.
Does this look like a surprised face to you?
Okay.
No, I mean, I don't remember anybody doing that either.
Okay.
I think that that's a very advanced technique. And when you do it, it really does differentiate you from your competition. I have one business, because I did that and my competitor didn't. It's really that powerful. I don't know if I told you guys that story. Did I tell that?
Yep.
The Schwab thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a big engagement at Schwab because I made a point to understand the customer and my competitor didn't. It was that simple. So, It's huge. Does that help? I thought, from a content perspective, Dylan, I was really impressed with how solid this was. I don't expect people who have not been in my training before to step up and do anything like that. I just don't. So you do so many things right. You open with a hook. According to Gardner, 9 out of 10 have never used to do. I thought, it's a solid hook. You follow that with interactivity. Who here thinks we need to educate the prospect on big data? So you're requiring a response from us, another hook. And then that's followed by a rhetorical question. How do you take somebody, blah, 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 relational databases? So I thought, hook, hook, hook. At that point I was like, this guy's rocking it so far. I really liked how you used the Madrid phone book, and I get how it would have been so sweet if it had been that thick, right? Like New York or San Francisco or wherever. You know, big monster.
This isn't big data, this is like medium to small data.
Maybe if you'd gotten two of them and taped them together.
It's a style book out of the hotel.
But I, you know, for me, I'm thinking about it as, if you were doing this in front of a client, you'd have a full-size book. You'd have the full deal. So I could envision where you were going with it. I totally got it. I thought that was really clever.
And what I would have really loved to do is like rip off.
Yeah, I saw that. I had the same thought. I thought it would be really cool to rip it.
Rip it like halfway.
Yeah. And I thought like this device of splitting the room in two was really smart, because the instant you did it, I felt this competitive, like, I wanted to win. I didn't even know why. So I thought that was good. And then the way you explained how you were going to break the data over there into pieces, and then when you said you were all going to fight over this one book, I immediately went like, that's a problem. I instantly got it. And I don't know jack about databases. And I totally got it in that moment. So I thought that was very, very effective. The interaction then that followed up with about Michael Jordan, where you got responses from Usman, was really effective hook. All you nodes again, coming back to Vinny's comment about the gesture, was one specific example where you were really using your gesture to express and take up space really nicely. And I also felt the movement. There was an appropriate balance of movement with stillness. It seemed purposeful. It wasn't random at all. I thought the car SUV analogy in your response to Dave's question was very interesting and clear. And then you did something with Freadhoff that I thought was really interesting. You modeled a very high level of transparency when you said, thank you for the gotcha question. You're setting me up to sell talent, or there's an opportunity to sell talent. And the humor of that with the transparency I found to be really disarming in a charming way, and I thought that was really good. When you answered Shaikat's question, I don't know if you were aware of this, but you actually, as he was posing his question, you moved closer to him, which I always think is nice, because it shows I'm interested in you, I want to connect
As I
with
was
you.
approaching, I was kind
Maybe I want to make love to you. I don't know.
The camera angle.
Yeah. How close can I get? Otherwise, I probably just.
But I thought that was great. A very minor, I'm being very nitpicky now, I know, but that's what I do. Notice when you're here with that final question, your hands come together, and then you start to rub your hands a little bit. Two things about that. One, it's a closed posture. So any closed posture on a very basic, fundamental level of communication says, I need to protect myself. I'm protecting my vital organs. An open posture says, I perceive no threat. And that shows confidence. So I always tell my clients, you want to keep your body open to the audience as much as you can. So your hands at your sides is fine. I think one hand in the pocket is fine. As long as your slacks have this kind of a cut, not with jeans necessarily. So that's just some thoughts about what to do with the hands. And then the conclusion, I just wanted to hear I didn't hear a really solid conclusion. I couldn't tell you what your conclusion was. So that's generally an indicator it didn't really land with me. But I was so impressed with so many of the hook techniques that you incorporated, I thought, wow. Did not expect that. Good job.